Okay, let's start again. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the City of Reading public hearing on housing and community development in needs. This meeting is held on May 4th, 2021. We're trying to actually live broadcast this on Facebook, but we are encountering difficulties, so I don't know if we are still broadcasting or not. A few minutes ago, we tried to do so, and we are now trying to conduct the meeting. I'm hoping that we are actually broadcasting, but if we're not broadcasting, I just want to let everybody know that we are recording this meeting, and with recording it, it will be on our website as we process this document to our information technology department. So with that being said, what we are talking about tonight here in our meeting is basically, can you see the second spreadsheet or you're still on the first one? Okay, so that means I gotta stop sharing every time and go back and share the second slide. So this is interesting. So now we have the second slide here. And do you see the second slide or not yet?
Yes.
You do. Okay. So basically, what we are trying to accomplish tonight is to inform you about the different available programs, and that is the consolidated plan as well as the action plan that we're talking about it, and the year-end reports, which is the actually the consolidated annual performance and evaluation report. That's what CAPER stands for, an annual community assessment, as well as we will touch base on the CDBG ESG home application. I'm gonna scroll down and hopefully you see that. Do you see that? Do you see that? Good, good. So with that being said, all of our information are available on our website. Our website is displayed on the screen for the year 2022. The CDBG and home applications are located on our website, and that is www.reading.gov/consolidated housing community /development. And we will have this information for you, for those who are watching, listening, or going to tap on our program. They will be able to reach out this information. If you see the blue arrow here, it tells you about where to click once you log into our website, and from there it will take you into self-directed information in which you will be able to actually apply if you are interested in applying for this. Excuse me. This information is also can be available through our department. You can give us a call at 610-655-6211. We basically respectfully request you to kind of like, if you are participating in our meeting, that you limit your discussions to about 10 minutes or no more. The consolidated plan is the slide that we are going to talk about, and Neil will take it from that point onwards. The very first part here is that we are talking about the consolidated plan for the year 2019 to 2023, identifying local housing and community developments and needs. That is part of the plan that we have, as well as identifying the strategies for addressing local needs. So we have to identify the communities of needs, as well as we have to identify the strategies that we are going to do. And that is an encompassing plan for 5 years. It goes from 2019 to 2023. It's a rolling 5 years event. So for those of us who watched us last year, it was 18 to 22, and we go on and like that. Then there is the annual plan, and the annual plan is a described action of the undertaking to meet the strategic plan. And we will provide you detailed budget for the use of the federal funds that are available for us. That is basically what we are trying to share with you tonight. Without further ado, I'm going to introduce my colleague, Neil Mammoth, who will walk us through the next slides. Neil?
Yes, yeah, Jamal, before I make my presentation, Jamari Castro, who's our fiscal officer in the Community Development Department, she's going to talk about the finances briefly, and then I'll go into the presentation regarding CDBG.
Okay, thank you, Neil.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jamadi, as Neil mentioned, Community Development and Fiscal Officer. So in the past, if you're interested in knowing our past annual assessment, by visiting the website, redmpa.gov, under Government, select all city departments, under Community Development, and select Housing and Community Development, you'll find the Action Plan Annual Assessment as well as the CAPER. You're also more than welcome to contact our office. Our main number is 610-655-6211. Next slide, please. So for 2022 funding year, we are anticipating the following in grants allocation. So for the Community Development Block Grant, or CDBG, we are estimating $2,560,000. For the Home Partnership Program, $980,000, and for the Emergency Grant Solutions Grant is $220,000. Now, give it to Neil.
Thank you, Jamari. My name is Neil Namath. I'm the City of Reading's Community Development Specialist. My oversight responsibilities include what's called the City of Reading's Community Development Block Grant Program. And that is a federally funded program through the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development. The slide you see before you, we will discuss some of the activity types that are eligible using Community Development Block Grant funds. So for instance, if an agency wanted to conduct a housing rehabilitation program, such as a residential facade improvement program, they can do so using CDBG funds. That type of program, though, would require the improvements to meet the United States Department of Interior historic preservation standards. So as we go through these different types of programs that an agency can do using CDBG funds, they will all have very specific requirements and different requirements as well. A home ownership assistance program is a program where a nonprofit agency would be providing a mortgage assistance, meaning like a 50% down payment assistance to someone, to a low and moderate income level household, so that they're able to acquire or purchase a home. Public facilities improvement projects are city parks, city playgrounds, when we rehab those, and also when we install American with Disability Act curb ramps. The next activity is called blight removal site clearance. That type of activity is where the city building official can ask us to use CDBG funds to demolish a building that's very deteriorated. And you'll see that going on throughout the city in various neighborhoods. Code enforcement, we currently do that. With the code enforcement supervisor picks an area of the city that they deem as deteriorating, and will conduct code enforcement in that specific area. That area must be predominantly residential, and it also must contain at least 51% low and moderate income level persons. Economic development activities, that's where we would do a program such as like a micro enterprise loan program. And a micro enterprise is a business that has 5 or less people, and the owner of the business must be a low and moderate income level person. So if an agency were to conduct that, they would conduct a loan program, they would do the underwriting. The business would either have to be in a low mod area, or that business would have to create jobs. Public service activities are activities such as our current community policing program. That's a type of crime prevention program where it's a non-traditional program where the police officers aren't traveling in squad cars. They're riding bikes, they're walking, they meet with the business owners, the schools, they'll interact with the kids going to and from school. The area of the community police program has to contain at least 51% low and moderate income level persons now. So specific area of the city, it's not the entire city. Another example of a public service would be a youth services program. For instance, the Olivet Boys and Girls Clubs conducts one in Pandora Park. So 51% of those children at a minimum must be from a low and moderate income level family. The next slide, please. Now, there are some specific activities that you cannot fund using CDBG. A few I'd like to touch on. So with CDBG, we can't build brand new houses. An agency can rehab a house with CDBG, but with CDBG specifically, you can't build a new house. The city could not take CDBG funds and use it for operating and maintaining a public facility, such as like the Public Works building. You can't use CDBG funds for general government expenses, like running the accounting office, etc. So those are some things that you cannot do, and there's some others there listed. Next slide, please. Now, a CDBG activity must meet one of 3 national objectives. And I mentioned some of them previous. One I'd like to point out is number 3. Number 3 is if the city of Reading were to experience a hurricane and say there was buildings about to fall down, we could use CDBG funds to stabilize those buildings from falling down. So that's what they mean by when urgent needs and health and welfare are threatened. The next slide, please. The next slide will show, it's just a matrix there of how many different ways and categories CDBG can be used. Just gives you an idea how diverse the program is. It's a very broad program, but the activity the agency wants to do has got to fit somewhere in there. If we can't fit it in there, then unfortunately it will not be eligible or fundable. Next slide, please. One of the national objectives is an area benefit. So for instance, if we do want to use CDBG funds to rehab a park and playground, the area that the park serves must contain 51% low and moderate income level persons. And that area must also be residential. Next slide, please. So how does one determine the area? Well, it's the type of activity, where the activity is located, how the residents have, if they have easy access, and are there others with a park situation, what are the other parks that are nearby? So for instance, with City Park, we're doing American with Disability Act playground equipment in there as we speak. Well, that park is so large, it serves the entire city, not just one neighborhood. So that gives you the difference between a very small park versus a very large park, and they'll both have different service areas. And those are the 4 criteria that are used to determine the boundaries of a service area. Next slide, please. There's another category, and this category involves programs like the Olivet's Boys and Girls Club Youth Services Program. So with that particular program, it's called limited clientele. It's public services, limited clientele. At least 51% of those children must come from low and moderate income level families. Now, if there was a program in a certain category, such as it was specifically only for abused children, then that automatically qualifies. So now, however, one caveat with public services, a public service must be a brand new service, or it must be a quantifiable increase in the level of services that were previously provided by the agency. So if the agency is not creating a brand new program, or if they're not increasing the amount, we will not be able to fund it. So those are 2 criteria. Next slide, please. When we do housing, it's not for new housing, but it's for a rehab of a house. So when we run a residential facade improvement program, if we choose to fund it under low mod housing national objective, then the household will have to provide documentation that shows that they're a low and moderate income level household. That documentation might be something like the 1040 IRS form. It could be their pay stubs. It's things such as that. But that's another caveat of the CDBG program. Next slide, please. Job creation or job retention activities. So if we had a micro enterprise loan program and the business was small, but it had a very large service area, say it was outside the city limits, they may want to get funding based off that they're going to create a job. So if the business creates a new job, we can give them in that program, if that program were available, it would give them up to $35,000 in assistance to that business. Next slide, please. Now, this is a little tricky slide, but what is a low and moderate income level person? The definition is that the family income must not exceed 80% of the area family median income. So next slide, please. So in dollar amounts, what does that look like? Look at for a family of four, that family of four can make up to $62,900 a year and still be considered a low and moderate income level family. Next slide, please. And how are we able to demolish buildings? Well, it's under this category called the elimination of slum and blight. So if the building official says that's a deteriorated building, we want it demolished using CDBG funds, we would put it under that category. It's called elimination of slum and blight on a spot basis. In order to do stuff under an area category, we have to do some data gathering in order to qualify something under the area category. Next slide, please. So my colleague Patricia, she'll introduce herself and she'll discuss the ESG program and the city's home program.
Thank you, Neil. My name is Patricia Vasquez, and I am currently the Community Development Liaison Officer, and I help run these two programs. One of them being the Emergency Solutions Grant Program, which is often referred to as ESG. The ESG program has a wide range of services that includes the following categories or program components. One of them is street outreach, emergency shelter, rapid rehousing, homelessness prevention, and the HMIS or Homelessness Management Information System. Next slide, please. With regards to the home program, the Home Investment Partnership Act includes the following activities: dedicated housing improvement programs, new construction rental, acquisition rental resale, tenant-based rental assistance or TBRA, community housing development organization or CHODOs, which includes 15% set-aside funds, or home ownership program, which is often referred to as HOP. And that is it for my part.
Well, back to me, and thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, Neil, Jamari, and Patricia for this presentation. Please remember that there is a schedule here, and this schedule is very clear to assist those who are interested in applying. So the applications are due by end of June this year. This is basically where with the cutoff line. So if you're interested in applying, please go on our website and learn about the information. You are also more than welcome to call us. You can call me, you can call Neil, Jamari, or Patricia, and we'll be more than happy to assist you. As well as once the applications are all submitted in there, July and August of this year, we will be able to review the applications and see their eligibility and fundability in there, as been described to you by Neil, and how can we define a project that is eligible, and what is the national objectives to that, and all of these good merits for the revitalizations of our community. In September, we will be able to present, this year, we'll be able to present to the mayor an action plan. And this action plan will actually be our recommendations to the mayor and subsequently to the city council. In October of this year, we will hold a public comments period. And this public comments period will be valid for 30 days, through which sometimes in November of this year, we'll go back to the city council for voting and taking action on the plan. Towards the end of November, middle of November, we will submit the action plan for the year 2022 to HUD. Okay, and as anticipated, that the project will be basically we will receive an award in the early part of 2021, and that is for the state and federal program projects that we have. And we will in May 1st, 2022, the city will require HUD contracts to be completed, and in July of 2022, the ESG activities will be also will commence. What I would like to say in few words here is that in order to revitalize the city and work on the projects altogether, we are available for you. The action plan is a very consolidated plan of what we are going to do. It was taken as a decision that we are not going to name agencies, but we will name programs, just as the one Patricia has indicated earlier. So we will, for instance, rental rehab acquisition. So that is a category will be named in there. So whatever we can put in that fund will be given to agencies that provide programs of that nature. You also heard us saying that the program is about $2.5 million. So there are several programs in competitions to that, and some of it are actually such as the police patrols and activities for within the city for specific projects will take a portion of that. Please look at the information that we have, and we welcome any questions. And in fact, I'm going to start. I have a question for Neil, but I will look at Iris as well as Sean. If you have any questions, I don't mean to call on you, but since I see you on the screen, if you have any specific questions or any information, please do so. And I stress on the fact that go on our website or call us, and we'll be more than happy to walk you with the applications. Thank you very much.
Sure. I'll speak up because I'm not shy. So I'll introduce myself. I said it before, Destination Realty. We're a downtown focused real estate company. I do both some limited residential. I do mostly commercial investment properties, and I manage other people's residential housing units, about 180 units throughout the city. We work closely with the Housing Authority. We work with SAM and all the other coalition and homelessness, and we're really actually pretty proud of the fact that over this whole COVID timeframe, we've had very, very few people who've gotten to the point of eviction. We really try to work with people to make sure that there's continuous housing rather than flighted housing. One of the other things that we do, and this is just a small part, is when we do a lease with our clients, we do a year and then it's a year renewal. So it doesn't go month to month afterwards. I think that having the stability of a year lease for families will keep the students in the same little school district that they're in, and provide some stability for the family. So it's a small thing, but it adds up, I think, for the people who are living with us to know that they're not on the edge of an eviction or a price increase every month. So we do that. I'm also working with several developers, and I guess the question I have about the different programs you mentioned, are you doing any, I'm going to call it outreach, or identifying of properties that might fit these programs? I can think of one address in particular, 240 Wood Street. Um, the owner of that is a local woman. She runs a taco stand at 6th and Penn Streets, the little yellow one in front of the bank there. And she owns that property and rents it out to whoever will take it. The property next door, immediately to the left, I'm going to say it's probably 242 Wood Street, is in horrible condition. It's really falling apart, and it's having a negative impact on her property. I would love to see that torn down and given to her, or made available to her, however it is, so that she now has a side yard for her tenants, or parking if that becomes the best choice for that. Is there an effort in general then to look for and identify property owners that could benefit from one of these programs?
Is the property vacant,
Yes.
Ms. Moretti, right now?
Yeah, number
241
242 Wood Street is vacant.
is vacant. Okay, all right. I've written this information down, and certainly we can send our property maintenance inspectors there tomorrow to start the process. As you can tell, process itself it has two prongs to it. The very first prong is that if in fact the property is blighted and fallen apart, then one of the programs that we have is the demolition program, and that is through the building and trade, and this is merely CDBG funds. The other program that we have is that we can actually take this into the blighted program. In the blighted program, it has 2 hearings every year, and there is one upcoming in actually sometime in May. And at that point in time, once it's blighted, then we can't condemn it and we can start the process of acquisition. But you are bringing up a very good point, and we certainly would like to see how we can benefit from and let our residents benefit from programs like that. Thank you.
Sure, thank you. And then I'll throw something out there that is probably not for this group. I'm not sure. I think it comes back to City Council, but any allies that we can have who would recognize the need for, let me rephrase that, the requirement for 1.5 parking spaces for retrofitted apartments or new development or whatnot is an antiquated and problematic requirement. I know it's not going to get addressed here, but again, if we can somehow get some groundswell support to reduce or change that requirement for at least in the commercial core, if not throughout the city, I think we're going to see a benefit to people. There's the 190 some odd units that I manage. There's probably less than half of them have a car. They're using Lyft and Uber and public transportation. I like to ride my bike. That's not me in the picture behind me there, but there's a lot of other people out there that don't need cars, and so having a requirement like that is just it's a little burdensome and not always necessary. So I'll throw that out there for you.
Well, again, thank you very much for this piece of information. It's a very critical information, and I'm very glad that you are talking about it. As a matter of fact, you just got yourself a new project, Sean. What we are going to do, we are in the middle of the developing what's called the comprehensive parking study for the city of Reading. So if you would be kind enough and share with me, not through this, but on a different link, your contact information, because what I would like to do is that I would like for our consultant, Desmond Engineering, to reach out to you, to hear from you as an owner of multi-units, how important it is to have how important are the statistics and the fact that 1.5 parking spaces per apartment is a thing of the past. Your voice will be heard very well over there, but I'm glad that you brought it up to our attention. And if you forward me your information, your contact information, I'll make sure that, excuse me, somebody from the city, from the planning or the Desmond engineering will get in touch with you and schedule it for a stakeholder meeting.
Great. I'm happy to send my details over.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. And Iris, any questions from your end?
Not right now, Jamal. I think our train of emails this afternoon kind of hit on the subject that we were a little concerned about. And I know Neil and Patricia and I are having a Zoom meeting next week.
Next week or tomorrow?
No, I thought it was next week.
Okay, that's fantastic.
I thought it was next week.
I'd like to attend, actually.
But these dates on the that you have up here now with the schedule, that helps because that I'm not familiar with as far as these dates are basically the same time every year, correct?
Mhm.
Okay.
They shift, but yeah, end of June, July, and August, yes, absolutely. They're always more or less the same, yes.
Okay.
Unless
No.
November 15th is a Friday, I mean, is a Sunday or something like that, then it shifts. Yeah.
Okay. All right. But no, this schedule was helpful. And I think we'll get some things resolved next week when the four of us meet. So I just wanted to hear what one of your community development Zoom meetings sounded like, what you had to offer.
Oh, it was embarrassing to start. So
No, it wasn't. It was very good. Technical difficulty, that's all.
yeah. But what we will also do, and correct me if I'm wrong, Neil and Patricia, would the PowerPoint be available online, or should we send it to Sean and Iris and anybody else would like to have it?
We actually always put it online after.
Okay.
It's there. There is a lot of material on our website. A lot of it's technical in nature, but it can be very helpful for an agency or developer, etc.
So the PowerPoint will also be available for you.
Yes, this very PowerPoint we put on the website, hopefully this week.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? Any other comments to the public, to the staff? We'll be more than happy to take any questions, and if we can't answer them, we will get you the answer. But if Neil cannot answer, then pretty much we don't have an answer for you. Okay. Hearing none, then I want to thank you again for joining us, and I'm going to stop the recording, and then we will basically will adjourn. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.